The prisoner who vanished through the walls. The cell that should have been his tomb. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell, and stay with us until the end. Because tonight, you're about to hear how one man escaped a place that was supposed to be impossible to leave. It was still dark over Marion Federal Penitentiary when the sirens began. A deep, mechanical roar that sent guards running down concrete corridors. Cameras showed nothing, no movement, no shadows. Just an empty cell where inmate Elias Crowe had been locked 12 hours earlier. His bed was cold, his uniform folded on the floor. No broken bars, no hole, no sign of life, just absence. Crowe had been a lifer, convicted for the armed robbery and abduction of a bank manager's son. A man with a record of precision. He never confessed, never pleaded for mercy. He studied blueprints, read psychology, and spoke to no one. The guards nicknamed him the architect, because every action seemed measured, like he was building something invisible. When Warden Hayes arrived, the hallway reeked of bleach and damp metal. "Run the footage again," he ordered. The grainy black and white feed flickered through hours of silence until 3:14 a.m., the exact moment when the camera outside Crowe's cell glitched into static for 47 seconds. When it cleared, the cell was empty. Inside, investigators found a single object that didn't belong, a rusted key, coated with dust, lying beneath the vent. Problem was, it didn't fit any lock in the prison. By dawn, federal marshals flooded the facility. Every exit was sealed, every vehicle checked. Dogs combed the yard, sniffing through razor wire and mud. No prints, no footprints, not even a disturbance in the gravel near the outer wall. It was as if the man had evaporated. Detective Mara Sloan, a forensics specialist from Chicago, was called in to assist. She'd handled impossible cases before, but this one was different. She walked the tier slowly, her flashlight tracing cracks in the concrete. "No man disappears without help," she muttered, running her fingers along the vent grate. Behind it, fresh tool marks. But the vent led nowhere. Just a dead cavity sealed by rebar. When she questioned the night guard, his story stuttered. I saw him lying on his bunk at midnight," he said. "Same as every night. I checked through the slot at 2. Still there. Or I thought he was." "What do you mean, thought?" Sloan asked. He hesitated. It was dark. He had the blanket over him. They pulled the blanket from the bed. Under the fabric, pressed flat against the mattress, was a lifelike dummy, constructed from toilet paper, hair from a brush, and a layer of paint scraped from the wall. Elias Crowe hadn't vanished instantly. He'd planned every breath. But how he'd left remained unsolved. The maintenance records revealed something stranger. 2 weeks earlier, a construction team had serviced the underground plumbing system directly below Crowe's block. According to their report, one worker never signed out. His name was Joel Riker, and his badge was never used again. When Sloan visited the subbasement, the air was heavy and stale. Pipes hissed overhead, echoing like whispers. Her flashlight beam caught something written in chalk on the wall near the crawlspace. "Every design has a flaw." That night, she reviewed Crowe's correspondence. In the last month, he'd written 14 letters, all addressed to the same person, his sister, Anna Crowe, a civil engineer once contracted by the state's prison commission. But every letter had been returned, address invalid. The pieces didn't add up. A vent that led nowhere, a key that fit nothing, a missing worker, and a sister who vanished from the grid years ago. Then, as technicians reviewed the prison's wiring logs, a chilling discovery surfaced. The electrical panel controlling the CCTV feed for Crowe's corridor had been manually overridden, not hacked remotely. The override key was accessible only to 5 senior staff members, including Warden Hayes. When Sloan confronted him, his face went pale. "Detective, I don't know what you're implying. I've run this place 20 years. She stared through the reinforced glass of the empty cell. "Then you'll want to explain this," she said, sliding a still photograph across his desk, captured from the camera after the static cleared. In the far corner of the frame, a faint reflection glimmered on the cell window, someone holding a flashlight, wearing the warden's own badge. Hayes swallowed hard. "That's impossible," he whispered. "Maybe," Sloan said. But so is a man walking through walls. Outside, thunder rolled across the horizon. And deep beneath the prison, water dripped rhythmically onto concrete, steady, deliberate, like footsteps receding into the dark. The blueprint below the prison. The storm had passed by morning, but the air inside Marion Penitentiary was heavier than ever, thick with suspicion, sweat, and fear. Detective Mara Sloan hadn't slept. She sat in the warden's office, replaying the same image again and again, his badge reflected in that cell window. "Explain it," she demanded. Warden Hayes rubbed his temples. "That reflection could be anyone," he muttered. "You're grasping at ghosts." But the tremor in his voice betrayed him. When Internal Affairs began questioning the staff, half of them refused to speak without lawyers. Files vanished overnight. The facility's maintenance logs for the week of the escape were wiped clean. Someone inside was covering tracks, cleanly, professionally. Sloan needed leverage. She started digging through Elias Crowe's past. Before his conviction, he'd been a licensed civil architect working on, ironically, state correctional facilities. The blueprints of Marion itself bore his design signature. He hadn't just been a prisoner there. He'd helped build the place. A chill ran down her spine. "He didn't find a flaw," she whispered. He remembered one. She descended into the subbasement again, deeper this time, where the concrete turned wet and the lights flickered. Pipes rattled overhead. The air smelled of rust and decay. Then her flashlight beam caught a faint outline in the wall, a rectangular seam hidden behind old plaster. It wasn't on any blueprint she'd seen. When she scraped away the surface, her hand brushed metal. A hatch. She pried it open and aimed the light inside. Beyond the narrow tunnel, muddy footprints disappeared into darkness. One set. Size 10. "Crowe," she breathed. The tunnel sloped down, branching into a maze of old service shafts. She followed the footprints until they stopped abruptly beside a pile of tattered uniforms, guard uniforms. And next to them, an empty flashlight with the initials, JR, scratched into the side. Joel Riker. The missing maintenance worker. Except, the fabric of one uniform sleeve was stained with dried blood. Back upstairs, Sloan confronted the warden again. This time, she brought evidence. The uniforms, the badge logs, and the time-stamped power override. "You had to know," she said. "Crowe didn't just escape. He walked out of a hole in your system that only you and your contractors could access." Hayes' jaw clenched. "You don't understand what you're accusing me of." "Then help me understand," Sloan snapped. "Because the cameras say you were in that hallway when the feed went dark." For a moment, silence. The hum of the fluorescent light above them. Then, finally, Hayes exhaled. "You think Crowe built his own prison without leaving himself a door?" he said quietly. "He told me he could find it again someday. I didn't believe him." Sloan leaned forward. "You helped him." Hayes shook his head slowly. "I didn't help. I owed him. Years ago, before Marion was built, he saved my daughter. She was caught in a construction collapse. Crowe pulled her out before the roof gave way. I swore I'd return the favor someday. I just didn't think he'd collect it from behind bars." He looked her dead in the eye. "He left me instructions. A set of schematics. Said he wanted to test the integrity of his design. I thought it was a joke until that night. I turned the cameras off, just for a minute. That was my mistake." Sloan stared at him, torn between fury and disbelief. "So where did he go?" Hayes hesitated, then opened his drawer. Inside was a single folded page, an old blueprint sketch labeled Tunnel System B. At the bottom, written in Crowe's hand, "The river erases everything." That evening, Sloan followed the old drainage map toward the Blackwater River, 5 miles from the penitentiary. The terrain was rough, lined with reeds and the distant hum of trucks on the highway. Near the bank, she found a corroded grate partially submerged in mud. Rusted, ancient, but still faintly disturbed. Inside the tunnel, mud, footprints again. She followed them through knee-deep water until the path split. One route led upward toward a storm drain. The other descended into pitch-black silence. Her radio crackled. It was the deputy. "Detective, we found something in Riker's locker." A letter addressed to you. Sloane unfolded it with trembling hands. He promised me freedom. Said I'd walk out rich. Instead, he sealed me in. If anyone finds this, he's not escaping alone. He's coming back. Her blood ran cold. Back? She muttered. She turned her flashlight toward the tunnel wall. Etched into the concrete was a single sentence in Crowe's neat, deliberate handwriting, fresh enough that the dust still clung to it. Every structure begins with trust and ends with collapse. She froze. From somewhere deep within the tunnel, metal clanged softly, like a gate being closed. Then another sound followed. Footsteps. Slow, heavy, getting closer. Crowe, she called, voice echoing through the dark. No answer. Only the rhythmic sound of dripping water and the faint hiss of someone breathing behind her. When Sloane turned around, her flashlight beam caught the glint of something metallic, handcuffs dangling from a man's wrist, and a face half hidden in the dark. It was him. Elias Crowe smiled. "Detective," he said calmly. "You're standing in the flaw. The flaw in the design." The tunnel's air turned cold, like the breath had been pulled out of it. Detective Mara Sloane gripped her flashlight, its beam trembling against the damp walls. Elias Crowe stood a few feet away, his expression almost serene. His orange prison jumpsuit was gone, replaced by the gray uniform of a maintenance worker. The handcuffs hung from one wrist, clinking softly with every slow movement. "You shouldn't be here," Sloane said, her voice steady but low. Crowe smiled faintly. "You were supposed to find the hatch. I left the trail for you." "Why?" He stepped forward. "Because I wanted someone to see it, the design. The flaw that made this place more dangerous than the criminals inside it." Her heart pounded. "You built that prison." "I built a system meant to contain men like me," he replied. "But the warden, the state, they cut corners. They wanted something efficient, not secure. Every flaw they ignored became my door out." He turned his gaze toward the dripping wall. "Do you know what happens when you build a perfect box? Someone eventually finds the hinge." Sloane steadied her breathing. "You killed Joel Riker." Crowe's eyes flickered. He panicked. "I offered him a choice, stay or vanish with me. He chose the wrong one." "You murdered him." "I corrected an error," Crowe said coldly. "He wanted to sell the schematics, to expose the truth before it was complete. But this story needed to end the way I planned it." He looked at her flashlight. "You're the last piece, detective. You followed every line perfectly. Now you'll understand the blueprint." He pointed toward the tunnel floor. There, barely visible beneath the shallow water, was a square metal plate engraved with the prison's architectural mark. Sloane shone her light across it and froze. Under the grime were numbers, identical to those stamped on Crowe's old design papers. "This tunnel," she whispered, "was part of the original drainage network." Crowe nodded. "They sealed it decades ago. But I kept the exit alive." He knelt, pried open the plate, and revealed a narrow shaft dropping straight down into darkness. A faint draft rose from below, cold, stale, endless. "Where does it go?" Sloane asked. "Out," he said. "Eventually." He looked at her again, eyes calm, almost kind. "You won't follow me. You're too smart for that." And before she could react, he stepped backward into the shaft and was gone. The sound of his body hitting water echoed for several seconds. Then silence. Sloane leaned over the edge, shining her beam downward. The tunnel disappeared into the black. No movement, no ripples. She called for backup, but her radio hissed with static. The signal was dead. Crawling back through the tunnel, she emerged beneath the riverbank just as dawn broke over the horizon. Helicopters circled overhead. Divers scoured the current. Nothing. They found no body, no footprints, no trace of Elias Crowe. 2 days later, Sloane sat in her car overlooking the penitentiary. The warden had been suspended. The prison was under federal review. And still, the question haunted her: how do you stop a man who thinks like an architect? She opened the evidence box on her passenger seat. Inside were the photos from Crowe's cell. His folded uniform, the dummy, the vent, the chalked words. Every design has a flaw. Then her phone buzzed. A known number. No caller ID. She answered. A man's voice, calm and measured. Detective Sloan. I was right. The river erases everything. Her breath caught. Crowe. You looked in the wrong place, he said. The flaw isn't in the walls. It's in the people who build them. The line went dead. 3 months passed. The river dredges never found him. The FBI declared the case unsolved. Then late one night, a guard inspecting an abandoned wing of the penitentiary found something chilling. Crowe's cell door had been reattached, freshly polished, and on the inside, someone had etched words into the metal. Trust collapses last. No fingerprints. No sign of entry. The warden's old keycard was missing. Detective Sloan visited the scene one final time. She traced the engraving with her glove and looked back toward the corridor. For a second, the hallway lights flickered, just once, and in that flicker, she thought she saw a shadow standing inside the empty cell. When the lights steadied, it was gone. She exhaled slowly, whispering to herself, "He's still inside, somewhere." Outside, the storm returned, rain slamming against the walls like fists. And beneath the hum of the wind, a metallic sound echoed faintly through the pipes, like someone turning a key. If you think this story was intense, you're not ready for the next one. Hit subscribe, because the next case might still be open.